Have you ever looked at a massive construction project, a skyscraper or a new bridge, and just wondered, how does that not collapse into total chaos? Or how a huge tech company manages to launch a new product right on schedule? Well, the answer is this discipline that acts like the project's central nervous system, but it's something a lot of people don't really get. It's called project control. So let's dive in and figure out what it is and why it is so incredibly important.
Okay, so let's think about any big project, like it's a complex train journey, right? It has a specific destination, it has a timetable, and it has a ton of moving parts that all have to work together. The whole point is to get to the success station and to get there on time and on budget.
But let's be honest here. We've all seen this story play out differently. That project that's years late, millions over budget, basically a complete train wreck. So what's the difference? What is it that separates that smooth journey from an absolute disaster?
Well, the answer is a whole set of functions that are designed for one single purpose, keeping that train on the tracks. It's about making sure it gets from point A to point B safely without running out of time or money.
So what exactly is project control? The best way to think about it is as the project's own intelligence agency. Its job isn't just to collect a bunch of data. No, its job is to turn all that raw data into clear, actionable information. It's really all about giving the decision makers the intel they need to know what's happening right now and what they need to do next.
I really love this quote, the right arm of project managers. That is such a powerful way to describe the relationship. It just perfectly highlights that project control isn't some competing function. It's there to support. It's about empowering the manager to make the absolute best choices they can, because they have the best possible information in front of them.
And that brings us to a really crucial distinction, because this is where a lot of people get mixed up. They confuse project management with project control, but they're really just two sides of the same coin. Let's go back to our train metaphor to make the difference crystal clear.
So here's the key difference. The project manager, they're the driver. Their hands are on the controls, they're the one talking to the passengers, the stakeholders, and they make the final call on which track to take. The project controller, on the other hand, is the one who designs, builds, and then interprets the entire control panel, that dashboard that's flashing with all the critical information. And you can see here just how tangled up these roles are. Project management, controls, and governance, they're not separate little silos. They're all gears in the same machine. You just can't have effective management, you can't have real accountability without the reliable information that project control is providing. Each part makes the others work.
So to put it as simply as possible, the driver is the one steering the train for sure, but it's the control panel that's telling them how fast they're going, how much fuel they have left, and maybe most importantly, whether there's trouble on the tracks 5 miles ahead. One provides direction, the other provides awareness. You need both.
Okay, so if project control is the dashboard, let's take a closer look. What exactly are the dials and gauges we're talking about here? What information is it actually generating for the driver?
Right, what are we actually looking at? It's definitely not just one number. It's a whole suite of interconnected metrics that, together, give you a complete picture of the project's health.
This chart gives us a fantastic bird's-eye view. Notice how project control is nested right under project management. It's the foundation for all these other essential functions: planning, scheduling, risk, performance. And the really crucial thing is how it shows they're all constantly talking to each other.
So let's break that diagram down into the core jobs. It all kicks off with planning and estimating. That's defining the what and how much. From there, you get the schedule and the budget, the when and how many dollars. Then comes the really proactive part, managing risks before they become disasters. And finally, the most critical piece of the whole puzzle, monitoring how you're actually doing against that original plan and reporting on it clearly. Because without that last step, everything else is really just a guess.
Now, this isn't something you just set up on day one and then walk away from. Not at all. Effective project control is a dynamic, continuous process. It actually operates in a constant feedback cycle. See, this process is not a straight line from start to finish. It's a loop. You are constantly measuring where you are against where you plan to be, and then you're taking action to close that gap. It's a cycle of nonstop adjustment.
This is often called the plan, do, check, act cycle. It's pretty straightforward. First, you plan the journey, the route map, the schedule, the budget. Then you do the work. You get the train moving down the tracks. Next, and this is the most important part, you check your progress against the plan. You look at the dashboard. Are we on time? Are we on budget? And finally, you act. If you're a little off track, you make decisions to correct your course. And as soon as you do that, the cycle begins all over again.
So why do we bother with all this looping and checking and acting? Well, the answer is simple. The payoff is absolutely enormous. This systematic approach is really the engine that drives a project to successful delivery.
So here's the bottom line, why this matters so much. Project control turns that messy flood of raw data into clean, clear business intelligence. It helps leaders keep a close eye on the four big constraints: scope, time, cost, and risk. But maybe the most important thing it does is create a detailed project history. It's like an invaluable playbook that makes every single future project you do smarter from day one. So, I'll just leave you with this one thought. For any project you're involved in, it doesn't matter if you're the driver or just a passenger, ask this one simple question. Is the control panel switched on, and are we actually paying attention to the dials? Because honestly, that can make all the difference in the world.